Well, good evening to everyone who are joining me here tonight. I want to thank you for taking your time and joining me on this Facebook live chat, the first one for 2022. So it's good to see that there is still a huge interest out there on some of the issues that we will discuss tonight, and I want to change the structure a bit so that we can answer more questions that has been put on the notice by many of the followers right throughout the country. But all in all, let me say that 2022 is going to be a very difficult year, especially with the elections coming around the corner. It will be a tough year to deliver on some of the government's programs that they've outlined in the 2022 budget. We have already seen some of the disruptions that are taking place, and those disruptions are causing our economy to continue to struggle. So more or less we will expect the same over the next few months until after the elections, and we can have some directions when a new parliament resumes, say in July, August this year. But today I want to talk about the economy and also how it relates to the standard of living and how people's lives have been affected by the decisions that the government is making. And generally, when the economy is not performing well, it translates into many of the difficulties that our people are facing right throughout the country. So I want to say that today we see the cost of living is rising on a daily basis almost, because government has lost control of the supervision of prices of goods that have been sold by many of our retailers and wholesalers right throughout the country. There's virtually no price controlling and monitoring of the prices that the people are charging on consumer items right throughout the country. At the same time, as the value of kina continues to decline, we see that our purchasing power for the kina is weakened as government continues to print money to pay for its expenditure through the central bank. The inflation continues to go up, and generally our people continue to struggle. The real wages for our people have not been looked at by government over the last 3 years. The last time when we were in government, that was the last time we reviewed the minimum wages for workers right throughout the country. That's when we increased the minimum wages level to over 300 kina per fortnight for the workers who are on that rate. But also the taxes has not been reviewed, particularly for salaries and wages. And the company taxes have relatively remained same over the last three and a half years. So we are seeing where cost of goods have gone up and the real wages have come down. And this is creating an imbalance where while our families and our workers are receiving the same wages when they go to the shop, the same wages are not able to buy the foods that they used to buy 3 or 4 years ago. They are buying, in fact, less. So government needs to be a bit more vigilant so that where people will take advantage of this lack of supervision on prices of goods right throughout the country, and particularly on the purchasing power of kina. There are many factors that affect this, but one of the main ones is lack of foreign currency and foreign currency in our banking and financial institutions in the country. When investors don't have confidence in our country as a result of many unnecessary changes in government policy and constant changes of decisions, we have seen that there is in fact huge decline of new foreign direct investment in PNG. This has got two effects. One is that there is lack of currency availability, foreign currency availability for our kina to buy. And secondly, because of lack of investment, there is no new employment created for people to earn salaries and have business opportunities as a result of those big investments that are coming into the country. So all this adds up to a situation where we as a country are suffering, where now we're seeing many, because the economy is shrinking and has been in decline for the last 3 years, many employers, particularly in the private sector, are cutting costs. When they cut costs, they have to terminate people, and that is why our unemployment of people who have been working in the private sector and public sector over the years is amongst the highest in the history of our country. That means more and more families are not earning income to survive. And that is a worrying concern. The government has got an obligation to make sure that people are employed, they're able to feed their families, and it needs to create an environment that gives that confidence to the business community to continue to invest in PNG. Right now, there's very few investments that are taking place in the country. And as a result, there is no new employment, and virtually the business sector has come to a standstill. The only areas that is sort of a little bit of activity that is happening is where government is giving out contracts, particularly in the construction sector, where there is a little bit of activity that is taking place. But just imagine, out of the 8 million people, millions of people out of job, there is a very limited amount of job opportunities that are available in that construction sector. So government needs to do more, and you can see from the daily press that we are seeing today that government services are also on the decline. People complaining about not receiving school fees, school subsidies are not going on time, teacher wages pay cuts have been happening on a regular basis. So, in fact, some of the programs that we are seeing is that salaries have been delayed going into people's bank accounts so that they are not receiving payments or their salaries on time. These are very clear indication that all is not well. We've had a government that has put in a very huge budget, 22 billion kina budget for 2022. But the estimates of revenue estimates were about 15 billion kina. It's not easy to achieve that, and they are falling well behind. And cutting off these services, like right now when we see some hospitals like Port Moresby General Hospital and Kundiawa and few other hospitals right throughout the country, talking about lack of medicines and funds not arriving on time, and they're not able to continue providing these services, life supporting services to our communities right across the country, is certainly a worrying sign for our country. We cannot allow this to continue. Government needs to step up. We don't see any government leader or government minister or departmental head coming out publicly to give confidence to the community and telling us that we are addressing this issue, we have taken note of this issue, and we are going to fix it this way. Nobody's making public statement. They are just hoping that these issues will just disappear and go away. Well, in fact, it is going to get worse, because if there is no clear plan by governments to addressing this falling government services, basic services to our people, we are in for a really shocking year in 2022. I know that one of the things that we need to do as a country is we need to get more investors into the country. And investors meaning that right investors. When we close down an operating mine like Porgera, you are shutting down 2,000 or 3,000 people who have got extended families that they look after, and now they are not able to feed the families that they have. They cannot look after the extended Toktok system that we have, and it affects thousands and thousands of people, and also affects a lot of businesses. So these are sort of ad hoc decisions that we need to be very careful about, shutting down things and telling investors to go away and telling them to get lost when we don't have an alternative plan in place. I think it's important that we have a common sense approach. We need to sit down with these investors, and yes, we want a better deal, but only by talking and discussing and working your way through these issues step by step, we will be able to achieve that. You can't just shut the door on people, and they've got options all around the world. Big companies like Exxon or Total or even now Santos, they've got options right around the world. We are not their only priority. Papua New Guinea is not their only investment destination. And when they come and invest huge sums of money in our country, thousands and thousands of people get employed in our country. And thousands of people do business, and they have small SMEs that benefit from these projects. And that is why it is crucial that we make the investment environment in our country more conducive and more competitive, in the sense that we are competing for this investment dollar with many, many countries around the world. Even we're competing with the developed countries who are also have got a stock of resources that they want to develop. So we are not alone. We are not the only ones in the world who have this kind of resources. We need to be a little bit more constructive in our dealings with this investment community, who will certainly be the driving force behind whatever economic recovery that we will have to do in this country. We cannot do it alone. Papua New Guinea needs to work with these people in order to get in our country back on track. Today, we've seen thousands and thousands of people, particularly students, who are now graduating from many of our statutory institutions with an expectation of getting a job in the formal employment sector. They are not able to do so because there's no jobs available. There's no investors who are able to employ these people. And that is why government, year in, year out, must be able to attract that investment dollar that will come in and make sure that we can capture at least as many as possible. Some of the graduates who are graduating in engineering, accountancy, in business, in law, those skills are very much needed by the private sector. And let me say this, government has got limited number of jobs, and government cannot provide jobs for everybody in this country. That is why private sector must be developed and grown so that it can accommodate this huge population of people who are out there unemployed and are looking for job. And that's the only way that we can get out of the situation that we are in. And people are struggling today to even put food on the table because the unemployed of those skilled workers who are out there because companies are cutting costs, as I said before. So as government, we must look at alternative ways of making sure that the business environment is conducive. I also want to talk about, there's been a lot of talk about debt in the country, and we've had our share of debate around it, and I will be the first to admit that our government borrowed money to develop the country. I can say that we have got a different approaches to current government. When we were in government, we borrowed money to develop infrastructure in the country. When we took over from the Somare government in 2011, there was almost 9 billion kina in total government debt. When I left office in 2019, it was 28 billion. So we borrowed about 19 billion kina in between. That 19 billion kina was spent on borrowing to build infrastructure because our population was growing, and that needed infrastructure to develop. We have built roads, we've built airports, we've built wharves and ports right across the country, we've built schools, we have built hospitals right across the country. It wasn't as if we just, there's been a lot of debate that when PNC was in government, it only invested in Port Moresby. We invested in Port Moresby because close to 1 million people of our citizens live here. And everybody who passes through Port Moresby uses the services and the infrastructure that we have built. But that is not fair to say that we did not invest anywhere else. We built roads, hospitals, schools, ports, airports, right across the country. And in fact, today, many of those projects employed thousands and thousands of people because contractors and government agencies, those were responsible for building this, employed our people to making sure that this infrastructure was built. So the difference between today, where our debt level is now exceeding close to 60 billion kina, we have almost doubled the size of our debt within 3 years. But we did not build any new infrastructure. We did not borrow to have an economic development, economic revenue earning infrastructure in the country. What we have done is to pay for consumption. Consumption whereby we are paying for wages, we are paying for administrative services, and the likes, where there is no economic return on it. It is just consumption. And that is alarming because certainly that is a recipe for disaster. We are not able to continue to fund consumption, what we are consuming today, which is not going to get us any revenue in the future, that is not going to give us additional employment of our citizens, and certainly those expenditures are not prioritized in areas that will benefit our people the most. Today you see that, as I said, health and education services, especially law and order, certainly on the decline. Everywhere you go, people are complaining that there is no medicine, no doctors, no nurses, and the list goes on. No infrastructure, because government is not investing in this, and we are just borrowing to fund the budget. I know there's been a lot of questions about budget. I've received quite a number of questions asked by some of our followers. Why we have got a 22 billion kina budget and we are not able to fund many of these services. Well, budget is just a plan. It doesn't mean that when you put a budget together that 22 billion is already there. What it means is that over the next 12 months, you will raise that money to pay for the expenses, like public servant salaries and running the government services right throughout the country, paying for education, paying for health, paying for law and order. Over the 12 months, you are budgeting that you will spend this kind of money to provide those services. So it is merely a plan, and the plan is supposed to be based on what you have experienced over the past few years. So if you, in the last year, if you were capable of raising 22 billion, then you put a 22 or 23 billion in a budget. But this is where the government has gone wrong. Their revenue was on declining, but they keep on increasing the budget size. They're spending more than what they are earning. And to fund the difference, they are borrowing the money, and that is very dangerous. As I said, when you don't invest in the economic projects, then you will certainly be falling behind. You need to invest in the infrastructure that will earn you money to repay the loan, and of course, create employment for our people. So I think we are going down the wrong path. Government needs to take stock of what it is doing. The Treasurer and the Prime Minister and of course the other economic ministers have an obligation. They've become like agencies of expenditure. All they want to do is spend money. They are not interested in knowing where the revenue is coming from, where the money is coming from. They're only interested in spending the money, or they just put out a request to Finance Department and Treasury. And when they cannot find the money, they force the central bank to print more money. And when you print more money, that means your currency value continues to decline. And this is the mix of things that we have in the country, and I'm very concerned that if we continue down this path, we have got a huge disaster waiting for us to encounter down the track. So now I know that there's been a lot of we've received hundreds and hundreds of questions, and I'm sorry that I might not be able to answer all the questions as I see it, but I will do my best. And some questions are very interesting, some are very political, and I understand that we are in the political game. But as I said, I'm quite happy to discuss things that are constructive. I know, if I have to answer some difficult questions, I'm quite happy to do so. But let's all be constructive. Our country needs us to be constructive. We can't continue to play politics at every level, and everything that we do, and every time we wake up, we are trying to degrade each other, and we will still continue to live in our country. We need to work together so that we are able to rescue this country from the situation that we have. First and foremost, we must live within our means. If we cannot live within our means, then it will be a big problem. We are going to pass on the lot of wastage that we are having today into the future generation. We have to make the right decisions that is going to benefit them in the future. And I would like to start by answering a few of the questions that people have put to me. The first one is from Benji Kende, who has asked me, he said, Marape is just in his recent visit to China, has borrowed 800 million kina just a few months away from elections. Well, let me say this. I don't believe that that 800 million kina loan has been properly processed. It has been a deal that has been done to fund one company that has got some serious accountability issues in many countries around the world, and that's signing off a contract with TBA, and then at the back of that, trying to build a big infrastructure for a power line generation upgrade from Mount Hagen to Yonki. When we already have a power line system going through there, there's a grid going through there. Our problem is not the grid of the power lines that we have, but it is more about power generation. The constant blackouts and things is about power generation, unavailability of power, and getting that to the market and to our consumers. So the government's priority in trying to fix in the lines before you fix the power generation issues is a little bit hard to understand. But at the end of the election, 800 million kina contract has been signed. I have been reliably informed. In fact, I've been provided with documents which suggest that TBA has been paid 31 million kina for just right after Marape returns from China. As a payment by KCH to PNG Power. When PNG Power is not able to even pay the power generation companies, they're able to pay this company 31 million kina for a project that is yet to take off the ground. So it's a little bit hard to understand, but I leave it to our followers to make that judgment. The second question is by Kepeta Bara, who says that can you explain the Marape government's PNG Connect PNG project, and that will make PNG to become the black richest nation in the country, in the world. Connect PNG project is not a new project. It is a project that was initiated by our government, during which we tried to get works to put up a plan to connect all the remote parts of our countries to a main road network system in the country, and that meant also that upgrading of some of the key road infrastructures that has been neglected for many years. As many of the Highlands Highway travelers know, there's a lot of work going on the Highlands Highway, which we have initiated, and that is an ongoing project. It'll take some years, but the upgrade to a world-class, world-standard infrastructure has been done now. And that is the same program that was to be extended to Medan and down to Bulolo, and of course to link up Kikori and the Southern Highlands. So these are ongoing government projects, and Marape government has just inherited that, And any new government coming in will continue that. This is a program that must be done. Doesn't matter who is in government. But this concept about making PNG the richest black nation in the world, and that kind of talk, you don't see many of the countries in Asia, or you don't see many of the countries in Europe or even in America where their government goes up and claims that we want to be the richest white country in the world or richest Asian country in the world. They don't say these kind of things. This just makes us look silly. The world thinks of us as, hey, what are these leaders and governments up to? If we are going to achieve that, we can only achieve that by hard work, not by dreaming and hoping that somebody will deliver us all these fortunes that we are dreaming of. If we work hard, like anybody who works hard in their business or in their career or in their jobs, they will have this success. There is no other easy solution, and there's no other free lunch in this world. So I think we just need to put this kind of nonsense aside and get back to work, get our people to work so that they've got food on the table, and get our people to work so that we can have basic services going down to our communities. It is no point dreaming about things that will not come because of our pronouncements, and it is just an emotional statement to make people feel comfortable and feel that this is possible. It is only possible if we work hard, and hard work will only deliver that. There is a question that why is Pinch's wealth all diverted to China? I don't understand the question. Pinch's wealth is not being diverted to China. We export to China what China needs, and then we get an income out of it. We export our LNG. I believe we export some of our copper and gold, some of our other agricultural commodities. Those are being exported, and we get a revenue coming back into the country, and the country is able to take its share out of that. So China is, we have to stop and think. We don't have to put some negativity around dealing with China. If you look at China over the last 30 years, they have moved close to 300 million people out from poverty to middle class and high income earning citizens of their country. 300 million people. Now, no other country in the world has ever done that. They've been able to do that in less than 30 years. So there are some lessons that we can learn from their sort of work that they have done, and it has enabled them to lift the standard of living for our people. If we are going to able to do something and work it from that experience, why not? Because we need to lift the standard of living for our people. They must have better education system, health system. They must have income in their pockets so that they can be able to look after their own families, and not waiting around for leaders and individuals to come and look after, occasionally give them money to look after themselves. That is unsustainable. We need to find a long-term solution, and that is by creating jobs so that people have pride in what they do. They're able to have an income that they can be able to look after themselves. Mr. Manda Wap says that PM O'Neill, you borrowed billions of kina, and now Marape government is paying all these youths loans. No? Well, yes, I borrowed billions of kina, but I built something. I have no issue with that. Let me say this: no country in the world, including United States or England or Australia, they all borrow money to build their country up. Papua New Guinea will continue to borrow money 100 years time, 200 years time. So this concept that when you borrow money, it's a dirty word, it's not quite correct. If you borrow money to build something that will build the country up, like roads or bridges, or when you build airports and hospitals and roads and schools and wharves, these are enabling infrastructure that will give us the ability to earn more revenue, get more opportunity for people to do business, more opportunity for people to have jobs. This will build a country up. Not if you borrow to go and buy food, not if you borrow to go and pay somebody wages. That is consumption. That kind of borrowing is dangerous. And that is what we are doing today. We are borrowing money to pay the public service structure and wages and all these things. So if you are saying that Marapai government is paying our debts off, we were paying our debts off because we had an ability to borrow and make money and pay it. And we did not go and borrow money above what we have legislated. We try to keep within the limits of the law that allowed us to limit the 35% of GDP. Now Marape government has changed it, and now it's close to 60%. Before you know it, it'll be 70% and get closer to 100%. Then you know that we are now getting into serious debt issue. That whatever we are making will go into paying all those debts off, and we will have to face that problem over the next 5 to 10 years. If we do not address it now and take stock of it now, we will have serious problems over the next 5 to 10 years. So I think if we are saying that Papua New Guinea should not be borrowing, I can assure you that like any country around the world, Papua New Guinea will have to borrow money to develop. So it is about the quality of the loan. Papua New Guinea is just like individuals or businesses who go to the bank to borrow money, and you tell the bank, this is how I'm going to make some money and I'll repay you. That's the same concept, but because it's a country, it can negotiate better terms, get interest rates lower, repayment periods for 30, 40 years, so that it gives us a lot of flexibility because we are a sovereign nation. And that is the ability of a sovereign nation to negotiate better terms for us. So I want to say this, that we will continue to work towards investing in infrastructure that will bring us economic return. That's the only way PNG can move forward. The second issue is about Josh Baki says that, can you shed some light on the Central Bank Act? How was it necessary to remove Loy Bakani as the governor? And is it healthy for our economy when the central bank prints more money? Well, amendments has been passed by government using their numbers on the floor of Parliament, but I think those amendments are dangerous for the country because the independence and the transparency of that institution is now been compromised. So you have a politically appointed board. I don't know about their experiences and their standing, but I have no doubt they may be the right people to be sitting on the board, but that's not the point. Now the government is interfering in the framing of the monetary policy of our country. That has never happened in the last 43, 44 years. And now we have, over the last 3 or 4 months, we are now been able to compromise that, and I think it's a serious issue. Every other institution in the country has been compromised, and this was our last standing independent institution that is protecting the economy of our country. If the economy is going to go to a free fall because of the compromises at the central bank, I can tell you as a country we need to worry about that. And about Loy Bakani's removal, Loy Bakani is a very experienced banker. He's been there I think since day one of his career as a banker, worked for the central bank, and I think due respect needs to be given to him. Unless there is absolutely necessary to remove him, he should have been allowed to serve his term out, but I don't know the circumstances under which he has been removed, so I can't comment on it. Is it healthy for central bank to continue to print money? No, it is not healthy. I think the central bank is making a serious mistake listening to government. I think today's paper I saw that the current acting governor has warned the government about controlling its expenditure, And I think that's a warning that the government needs to take seriously. That an independent person is now telling government that, listen, you are spending more than what you earn in revenue. Take control of it. And I think our leaders in government should take care of that, or take note of that concern that has been raised by the acting governor. How do we, Orange CY has said that why are there so many unresolved issues in our country? If PNC comes back into government after the elections, how are you going to liberate our stagnant economy? Will there be more borrowings? As I said, if PNC comes back into government in 2022, one thing we will do is certainly we'll bring the Fiscal Responsibility Act back to 35% of GDP. So we must learn to live within our means. And we will have to reduce that down from 60% to 35%. That will be one of the first actions. We will give the central bank its independence back so that they can be able to operate separately from government and the interferences from government. We'll have to do that. We'll have to stop printing money. We have to stop printing money, and we need to reduce the temporary TAP facility that they have got done. I think it's about 1.5 billion kina by government, which is a sort of an overdraft that has been used at the central bank by government. I understand that that has exceeded its limits, and the government has gone beyond, I think, 1.5 billion kina that they was allowed by law. Those kind of things need to be reined in back. And first and foremost is that we must re-establish the confidence of the investors. Get some of these projects that this government has been fiddling around with and has not progressed it. We need to get it back on track. Porgera needs to reopen. We must do everything possible to resolving some of the legacy issues so that we open that project on time. We must get Wafi off the ground. We must get Pinyang off the ground. We must make sure that Papua LNG, of which this government has seen fit to review the terms we've agreed on, and only to agree to those terms. For 2 years wasted. Now Total is just sitting back waiting because they have no trust about what this government says. So they are not going to invest billions and billions of kina, knowing very well that this government might change its mind again. So I'm sure that they will be able to do so if they see the government coming in after the elections is going to be able to be confident enough and give confidence to them to invest those billions of kina. You will see a huge turnaround in our economy, and our economy will continue to grow, and thousands and thousands of people. Our job is to get jobs for our people. Jobs must be our number one priority, and education our number two priority. Those two, jobs. People must earn money so that they're able to look after themselves and look after their families. And that will require us to ensure that our people and our investor confidence is restored so that they can be able to confidently invest in the country, knowing very well that their investment is safe, that governments don't interfere with it, governments are not going to change the rules as they go along. They are saying that BSP has said many times, they are saying that the closure of Porgera mine has worsened the situation, and both prices of goods and inflation has gone up, unemployment has gone up. Yes, that is true. Now, as I said, 2,000 or 3,000 people out of jobs. Government did not think this through. They were in a rush to please Peter Ipatas and hang out provincial government, and as a result, they tried to put issues before reality, and they messed up the whole thing. Even if they say that they will agree to getting the mine reopened in April, I don't think you will find that the mine will reopen in April, meaning that it'll take another 5 or 6 months before it opens. I'm certain that the current operators of the mine wanting to see how the new government will come in, and if they have the confidence of the new government, whoever it shall be, they will reopen the mine and continue. Otherwise, you will see this is as a prolonged closure, and talks will continue on forever, and nobody will really take the decisions of reopening the mine. Simon Willema says about taxation. He said, why is personal income tax increasing and VAT increasing? And we see that public servants spending has come down, or spending as the value of the money has come down, and they're not able to buy enough when they go shopping. I sympathize with Simon. That is certainly the situation. As inflation goes up, all the prices of all the consumer goods go up, and your ability to buy with the same amount of money that you were earning 4 years ago to today, when you go shopping, you get less. And this is because the value of our money has gone down, our purchasing power has gone down, inflation has gone up, and we have some trading companies, because of lack of price control, they set prices as they like. That is why you have a situation where this is happening when your money is not able to buy more. So I want to say that there will be a huge tax reform when we get into, if we have a chance of getting into government. Our aim is to keep the taxes for high income earners still high at the levels that we have. But for low income earners, we will increase the bracket, where right now, if you're earning up to 20,000 kina a year, you pay zero tax. We will increase that up to probably 30,000 kina a year, so that you don't pay tax if you're earning 30,000 kina a year. So you can have more money in your pocket, and you are able to look after your family. We believe that also that we will relook at a company's tax. We'll try and configure that into making sure that we reduce companies' tax, so that there is more investment by private sector in the country. When we have lower taxes, we see that, in example, in other countries, people start to bring more investments into the country. Recently, when you look at US, I think the taxes were around about 25% or so, and when they reduced it down to 17%, the US economy immediately started to grow. Immediately started to grow because more and more investors were coming in. They were investing money into new projects, and as a result, the economy started to boom. So given those kind of experiences that we have seen around the world, I think it's fair to say that it's about time we review the company and corporate taxes, so we reduce it so that we can have more employment going into the future. I don't believe the government has made any significant changes to the tax structure. Even during our time in government, we did not change the, although we increased the bracket from, I think it was 10 or 12,000 kina to 20,000 for the low income earners. That was the only changes we did. But for the corporate tax and the higher income tax earners, since Somalian government coming into our government and current government, there hasn't been any significant changes. It was during our government time, it was recommended to us to increase the sales tax, the VAT, to I think it was 12 or 15%, but I thought that will bring more hardship to our people, because every time you go and buy something in the shops, you will increase the taxes, and you will increase the prices, so that your money will not buy more. So in fact, your shopping will be less, because you are paying more for the VAT, and as a result, I thought that was a good idea. So I did not accept that report, and those changes did not take place. Income taxes certainly needs to be reviewed, and I think it's fair to say that both personal income tax and company income tax must be reviewed by the next government with a view of reducing it. And certainly there were questions about those people who are getting their finished pay and the benefits of them that they've invested in Nest Fund or Number One Super. Those should not be taxed. It should be tax-free, so people can, the take-home money should be made available to them without any taxation on these things that were taxed previously. They should not be double taxed. When they were earning an income, they were already paid tax. Why should they pay tax when they are taking their money out? So I think those sort of issues need to be cleared, and we can go. Wages and cost of living. Some of our people are talking about minimum wage. As I said earlier, minimum wage was reviewed many years back when we were in government, and we increased it up to 300 kina per fortnight as the minimum wage. I think review is timely, with a view of reviewing that so that we can be able to give minimum wages that is relevant to the current inflationary environment that we are in. The cost of goods have gone up, people's purchasing power has come down. We need to ensure that the take-home pay for people can be able to afford to maintain the purchasing of basic goods, which will be able to sustain their lives rather than and reducing it. People have talked about continuous blackouts and why is this happening in the country. I think, for standard of living, power is almost become a basic need for any human quality of life to improve, because when you have power in the house, kids can study better. When you have power in the house, you can store foods better, and it makes life a bit more comfortable. And the government has got close to 1.5 billion US dollars, which at 5 countries agreed to give in 2018 at the back of APEC. This is a 1.5 billion, I think, in rough estimate, just 4 billion kina. Just for power, electricity rollout programs in the country. I don't know why our government is not utilizing that money. That is a grant money. It is not a loan. This is a grant money from Australia, United States, Japan, New Zealand. Those countries have given us this to be able to provide power for our people right throughout the country. Now, this program is done, but it's done on an ad hoc basis. If you are favorable to government and your MP is in government, you might get it. What about the rest of the country? What about the rest of the people? This is a gift from those 4 countries to Papua New Guinea. We should not be going to China to borrow 800 million kina, which we have to repay back, while this money is available. 4 billion kina is available. I think our government and our leaders need to be realistic. Please, enough now. Get on with the job. Let's try and roll these programs out. Money has been there. Money has been there all this time. It's now 3.5 years since the day they signed the availability of this money, and yet the drawdown is slow, and our people are, if this was in Fiji or if it was in Tuvalu or somewhere, believe me, the officials will be knocking at the front door of the embassy of the United States, the embassies of Australia, trying to get this money tomorrow. But somehow, we are too rich, so we are not even interested in this. I don't understand the mentality. I think we owe it to our people, and I think our leaders and people in government needs to ensure that this is happening. We talked about Pogra already. As I said, Pogra and Wafi and all this in terms of natural resources. Jackson's S has asked, why is Pogra closed? Let me say, just silly when we allow ourselves to close up a mine that is operating when the gold prices are at almost record levels. When we are supposed to be making money, we close it down. I don't understand. I started business when I was a young man 30 years ago, and coming from a business background, you just cannot understand when someone is just going to go and shut down an enterprise when you are supposed to be earning good revenue. So I think, sometimes when we big note ourselves in politics and to try and justify our own pride and ego at a cost to the nation and cost to our people, I think it's a bit hard to swallow. And I think Papua New Guineans need to start questioning us. Why are we making these decisions, and why is that happening? We have somebody, Douglas Pokojai, asked a question about, he said, UBS inquiry. I've appeared there 3 times now at UBS inquiry. He said, he's asking, how did you use the 3 billion loan you got from UBS? Very simple. We bought the shares. Almost 11 or 12% for oil seed shares were bought by the loan. We also remember that we mortgaged our oil seed shares to the Arabs, the IPIC in United Emirates, to pay for our shares in PNG LNG. So what has happened is that we replaced that loan with UBS. When we got the money loan from the Arabs, we mortgaged everything: telecom, PNG Power, Air Niugini, all the government revenues from our oil and gas, and everything we mortgaged it. So when we renegotiated with UBS, all these were decided that you will only get the security over the oil seed shares and nothing else. So we released it. So we released it out from this hold by the IPIC. So the reports will come out, and they will tell you where the money has gone and what has happened. Few of the advisors that our officials engage have misled us. I've stated that at the inquiry. They have charged more fees, and they have misled our officials, misled us in government, and they were allowed to trade on the wholesale shares to try and repay the loans off. And this is going to come out from the UBS inquiry, and we look forward to the report. We take full responsibility for that. But people think that that loan is something that we did not have before. We were replacing the Arabs loan with the UBS loan. It was not a new loan, it was replacement loan. And the only thing we did was to mortgage wholesale shares. So I think, there's a little bit of misunderstanding by individuals thinking that government got 3 billion out of the treasury, or government got 3 billion out of somewhere to pay for that loan back. No, they sold the oil seed shares to repay that off. Because everybody said, oh, why the loan? Well, we were trying to secure a shares, but since everybody did not want it, they decided to sell it. So those are the issues that have been worked through by the inquiry. We look forward to getting the inquiry, and we'll take it on from there. So we will see how we go. Well, somebody says, Douglas also talks about the pandemic, COVID-19, and said it has hit the country hard in terms of our economy. What are we going to do if some of our PNC and other partners come into government in 2022? Well, if you look at the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect around the world, you will find that many of the countries, their economies have been stabilized and they are doing quite well. What they have done is that they have, in fact, gone and borrowed money, but for the maintenance of the welfare of their people. You will see the spending in Australia and in UK and, of course, in the United States, how their governments have responded to this, and the economies are doing well. There is no reason why our economy should be struggling. All we have done is our investment confidence is very low. We've shut down projects that were supposed to give us jobs and economic activity in the country. No new investor, when they see all these big investments come to a halt, no new investors have come in. And that is why our economy is struggling. And all our government does is keep on spending money. When our hospitals have got no drugs, they give members of parliament advanced DSIP for the year. They've given them 3 million kina each to all the government MPs. There is no need to give them 3 million kina each. They should give them 1 million because it's just the first month of the year, January. And they are front loading all these payments but then you are cutting money from other services. And that's why cash flow situation is a problem, because government's priority is wrong, and I think we'll see how it goes. We've got 5 more minutes. I'm sorry I can't go through all the questions, but let me say that we have been able to cover as much as we can, and I hope I have done justice by trying to address every issue that everybody has brought about. We talked about debt already. We talked about the economy already. We've talked about how the country's unemployment situation in the country and how our people are struggling to survive out there. Government needs to create an environment for creation of more jobs. That's all I can say. I think it's important that we can be able to do that. I'm sure there are few people who will continue to disagree with us, and we appreciate that. This is a democratic country, and your views are as good as anyone's. And I think it's important that we continue to work together. Public service structure and public service confidence is at all-time low. Many of the changes that are happening in the country are continuing to affect the performance of all the public servants. Constant changes in the departmental heads is unnecessary. There must be a good reason to try and removing these career officers and replacing them with people who have not really earned the right to those positions or without proper advertisement and screening process. So the public service structure is quite a concern. That is a delivery mechanism for our country, and I think it's important that we continue to allow it to be functioning independently. We politicians will come and go, but the public service machinery will remain as a tool for delivery of government services to our people, and they must be protected, and they must be allowed to function meaningfully. I also got questions from Francis Ambrose, who says, what is the date for the PNC party convention? Well, we have set the date now to our party convention will be in here in Port Moresby on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of April 2022, a few weeks before the elections, and I will give more details throughout the next few weeks to have the registration process. We must, of course, adhere to some of the protocols that are demanded of us in Port Moresby, and we'll take it on from there. But we're looking forward to announcing all our team that are going to go to the elections in 2022. We've had some overwhelming response from many candidates right throughout the country who have written to us directly for our endorsement, and they want to work with us to try and see if we can put our ideas and our views to the people, and they can make a choice. If they say that Peter O'Neill, it's time for you to go fishing and you should move on, well, that's a decision that we have to make after the elections. But so far, I'm very thankful. I went up to Nipa last weekend. On Friday and Saturday, I was in the Southern Islands province in Nipa. Very good to see how people there, very good response, and thank you very much for the hospitality that you have given to me. Listen, it's very good. People are happy with new ideas and new ways of doing delivering services to our people, and we look forward to it. Also, Ken Nakisi says, when are you coming to Kagurave? We are putting a program together for Kagwe to launch the road and the power and the bridge programs that we have delivered over the last time when we were in government. Our people are very happy that they're using these infrastructures and getting good service out of that. We're happy for you. Ken, I can tell you that we are coming to Kagwe very, very soon, and you will see me there in the next few weeks. But all in all, thank you very much. I hope I've answered many of your questions, and I look forward to talking to you soon. We'll try and have another one quickly. We've missed out in January. I thought that you should have holidays without too much politics and talking from older people like me. So we sort of gave you a break. We started in February. We'll see you in March or even sooner if topics demand it. But I thank you for you staying with me for this first engagement on our live chat, as they say in Facebook. I'm enjoying this tool as much as you are. Let's work together for our country and for our people. Thank you. God bless and good night.